Cold Pot, episode 4.
Episode 4. Welcome, Kontravoid.
Special guest, the Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, hi.
Here visiting.
Uh-huh.
He's back. He's back. Okay, so you moved to LA. We got to talk about this.
We'll start with that.
We got to start with LA. We got to start with the move.
Okay. Well, yeah, sure. Yeah. Moved there a few months ago, but was in Portland for about a year, recording the last record. Faceless was done there and was there for most of heightened COVID pandemic era. So it was a good time to work on something. And then moved to LA in October, and I've been there since touring and shows have been back, and now up here for the first Toronto show in about 3-4 years now.
Well, first of all, the show was amazing.
Yeah, it was great. It was my first time seeing you.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks.
Well, because I always have a joke. Where I'm always like, I love to bring someone to a Kontravoid show, because I'm always like, when you tell someone you're like, yeah, I'm going to my friend's show, and everyone's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll come, whatever.
It was not what I was expecting.
Yeah. Well, okay, good.
A friend's show. I was not expecting that.
I'm like, no, this is the thing.
Well, that's kind of like what that the Coffin Factory party. We can kind of talk about that one.
Well, we need to. I have that on the list.
We'll go there.
We'll go down there because we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But first of all, I was gonna say that so first of all, Portland. Did you like Portland?
Yeah. It was all right. I mean, I didn't really do honestly that much other than work on new material. Yeah. And go out and do some nature stuff at the coast and everything.
Is there a goth scene in Portland?
There is, yeah, but there wasn't many shows happening. That's that's just the thing. So
it's also COVID.
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely a scene there, and there's actually a very supportive scene there. And I get messages from people being like, you should, when you coming here next, and you should play these clubs and stuff like that. And I will be on this next tour coming up. The Portland date's beginning of May sometime. Okay. So no, there's definitely a scene there.
See, that's what's so interesting to me is because I find, having known you and knowing more and more about the goth scene from just talking to you all the time, but the fact that the West Coast exists in North America as a goth scene has always fascinated me because you just don't think about it.
Portland makes sense to me because it's rainy and dark, there's it's cloudy, but LA goth scene seems that seems like an oxymoron.
But it's the biggest one in North America.
It's definitely the biggest one for sure.
How did that happen?
I don't.
Nobody with Trent Reznor? Did he start the trend?
I think it's always been big there. I mean, the punk scene's always been big there, right? I mean, it's just kind of, and post punk too. I mean, it's. I don't know the history of it. I just know it's always existed, and shows that I've done there in the past have always been pretty incredible. I
have said this 1,000 times. Top 5 shows of all time, not Kontravoid shows of all time, shows of all time, was the one I went to at that warehouse in downtown.
Yeah, so that was April 2019, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. April 29th. Yeah, it was a Boy Harsher after party.
Right.
Yeah, and my friend Gamal, he put it on. He was the promoter for it, and
it was insane.
It was just it was fucking insane. Yeah.
Well, that was when you first, to me at least, premiered the move.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the move?
The move. So there was an era of Kontravoid where the mask is Kontravoid.
Yeah.
But there were certain shows that you would just do without the mask. Some shows would be maskless, some would be masked, whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel at this point it was known that some were just masked and some just weren't. Right. So I went to the show. We're in LA. It's late. Kontravoid's about to hit the stage. Plays the first song, no mask. And I'm like, okay, it's a maskless show. We got this. It's been great.
Yeah.
And then after the first song, and he did it last night.
Yeah. That was
but there was just, but I wasn't expecting it, so it caught me off guard. Where it was just first song was da 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 da, end to black.
Yeah.
5 seconds of silence. Light comes back on, and then the mask is there. He's got the mask on. Yeah. But the way the crowd reacted at that show in particular was insane. Yeah. It was it's holy fuck, he did it.
I think that's the sickest thing about the mask, because you're not using it for anonymity by any means. It's purely a brand.
Yeah,
thing.
It's kind of more I guess a theatrical.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, that's actually fun. Because on the cab to the show on 2 nights ago, the driver was like, so like what kind of show are you going to or whatever? Is it like theater or like, you know, whatever, like is it a concert? And I'm just like, it's kind of theater.
Yeah, it's theater.
That's basically it's like Phantom of the Opera.
It's kind of theater. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like the whole LA thing is just so funny to me because again, it just like the way the crowd reacted to that shit was just like nothing. It was the first time that I'd seen like being at like a rap show and like, you know, the headliner comes out and it's just like, you know, like basically you started and like, you know, you had the cameras being like, oh shit, I'm at a Contra White show. And then when the mask happened, it was as if like all the first 20 rows of people standing and dancing in the front was just like phone up.
Yeah, that was a great show. And the mask thing, second song in, is kind of like, honestly, I do that because I use the first song as sort of like a sound check song. If everything sounds all right and everything's sort of going the way that it should for the show, I'll know after the first track, and then I can put the mask on. Then I feel comfortable performing, obviously, the rest of the set. So it's kind of like it's like a comfort thing for me. But to hear the perspective of it being like, oh, okay, then like the lights go off and then the masks on for the second track, and that being like, you know, that getting like a you know, some like rise out of the crowd is unintentional.
It's like it's a second entrance. It feels like it's like you come on and then Contra Void comes on.
Cam comes on. And then Contra Void comes on. Cam plays the first Contra Void song. Yeah, and then Contra Void takes over.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's like it feels almost like some form of possession. It's like the song has kind of like and then all of a sudden you
the man behind the mask gets scooped up and gone.
It's crazy. It's insane.
Did you take the mask off for the last?
Yeah,
one?
I do. I take it off for the last track.
Okay, so that's the addition now.
That's an addition. Yeah,
it's your transition back to reality.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that was also not really like planned. That's just because I'm like literally like fucking dying. by like 45 minutes of whatever, you know, the set is around 50 minutes to an hour. So yeah, around the 50-minute mark, 45-minute mark, I'm like, just like my face is like all like sweaty and gross and like it feels horrible and I can't see shit or whatever. So yeah, that's sort of just for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna play the last song like, you know, kind of comfortably. And like go out like feeling good about it.
And you can actually see the audience
properly. Yeah, exactly. So
so the thing I was gonna say next is like with the light show, have you ever played a day show?
No, I haven't. I've never been asked for one, honestly.
I don't know
because I wonder.
Well, like that was the thing. Because I'm like a film guy, so like the thing that I was most stoked about was what your mask was doing with light. Like it was like it felt like there was like a light drag as soon as like the light, like the strobes would flash, and your mask like continues to carry the light for a sec, and so it's this really cool effect that like I've never seen quite done like that. And I don't even know if it's intentional, but it's just like it feels like there's like a drag of your mask.
That's like that's also unintentional, but it's something I learned it did because I first painted the mask with like a glossy coat and noticed it had this like trail in some of the photos and some of the videos that I saw. And then when I repainted it once, I got like the wrong spray paint. I got like a flat white, so it's just like a dull like, you know, wall white or whatever. And some of the show, like the videos from the shows after I painted at that time, it didn't have the trail and it didn't have the same effect or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I got to get the glossy white.
So you repainted it?
And paint it with the glossy one. So
how many masks do you have?
It's the same mask.
It's the same mask?
Yeah, since 2017.
Oh, that's actually nuts.
It's the same mask and it's just been painted over and over again. And the last time I repainted it was like not that long ago. So yeah, it's pretty like, it's kind of gross. Like there's just layers of spray paint and like gauze and everything. And there's a funny thing with it too, because I painted it white and covered it in like fake blood for a Halloween show that I did in 2018 in LA, and had like, you know, fake blood all over me and like was wearing like a butcher's, like I just went to a Spirit Halloween and put together some costume and just like basically bloodied up the Contra Void character for that one. And so I was like a butcher for that show. There's some photos and videos of it, but I spray painted, or I put the fake blood on the mask, and then I touched it up after Halloween had passed. I'm like, okay, we got to cover up the fake blood. You know, white mask again, and then sometimes when I wet it now, the fake blood comes through. So like if I wet the mask now, it just bleeds. Like it looks like it's like alive. It's like it's really creepy. Like I did that. Because I re-gauzed the eyes and everything. There's like netting over the eyes so I can see. Right. So when I put a new layer of that over top of it, I had to wet it, and so like it's like it actually like comes out of the paint. It looks terrifying. Like, I have a photo of
Well,
it.
because the mask has evolved. Like, I don't know if you know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like the mask started out very much as just a mask.
Yeah.
Like-
Well, it was just like one of the. They sell them at Halloween
I've
shops.
seen
There's
them.
some very basic masks. Like
Remember the time
yeah.
in like 2012 I dressed up as Contravoid?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember
really?
that?
That's so
Because there was an
silly.
era, maybe now that I think about it, a very bygone era of Contravoid, but the tracksuit era.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because in my I think I'm not making
I
this up.
think it was like a summer. It was like.
But the reason I say this is because in my mind, when I was like, again, it was truly a lazy Halloween costume. I was like DJing something, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like, obviously nobody got the costume, but I wore that and like an Adidas tracksuit.
It's like to the 10 people in Toronto that know. Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, I kind of know that guy."
Super niche Halloween costume.
Yeah, and to do that in 2012, too.
Yeah.
Or like 13. It was stupid. But the mask has evolved from just being that mask. So I say that because like I just bought what would have been the OG Contravoid mask at Dollarama or something, or wherever you get it.
Yeah.
But the thing has changed over
Yeah.
time. It's become more like fucked up and like scarier.
Yeah. I mean, it was all it was actually it was all around that Halloween show. Or I just had to change it up because that when I first bought it, that was like not that common. Then I think that mask became more popular, and like the original one was bought from a paintball store. Like they sell paintball equipment, and this one is like heavy duty. It's thick and everything, so it's like what you would wear when you're paintballing.
Right.
You can fit the goggles over it and everything, so it's just to protect your face when you're paintballing. That's what my mask is, and that's what the original mask was. But then they started popping up more and like frequently in Halloween shops, so more people started wearing them in like videos and everything like that. And I kind of I've made jokes about it, like like a bunch of imitators and stuff like that, like fake controversy. But I was like, okay, I should change this up a little bit just so it's not just a store bought mask.
Yeah, right.
And that's where like the plaster and the gauze and everything and the no eyes and I've just been like painting it constantly since then. So it's added this layer of like this.
Will the mask ever change? As far as like facial shape, like because I was at a joke. We've talked about this before, where I was like, the final form of Contra, the next level of the mask should be Tom Cruise in Vanilla Sky. You know, when he has the like very human mask.
Yeah. Hey, I mean that would be great. I haven't really thought about where it should go, honestly. At this point, it's also I like how it looks still, and now I think it's very like it can't change too much at this point. You know, it's got to be like a very subtle.
Yeah, you gotta maintain the iconography of Contravoid.
Next stage of the personas, like a plaster cast of your face, lifelike plaster cast. You don't even know when it's on or off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Funny thing about that I always find so interesting about the Contravoid like universe, cinematic universe, the Contravoid cinematic universe is the comedy aspect, because this is something that I think is what truly is original about the persona of Contravoid in social media and in music videos and blah blah blah, is the fact that it's very obvious, and you've done it already. The Contravoid scary mask music video thing exists. You've done a bunch of videos like that. Yeah. You have the infamous quote from
this one's great.
PJ.
Oh yeah.
Can't forget about PJ.
Yeah.
Well, we should hold on. We should for people listening. We should read the quote and describe what happened. So you have a video for what's
the track's called Too Deep. It was off the
Too Deep EP.
Last record. No, Too Deep's a record.
Oh, it's the yeah.
The last one, Faceless, is the EP.
Yes.
The last one, but Too Deep was 2019.
Yeah.
And so there's a video for that. That's the jet skiing video. And I don't know. Some people, I guess, I mean, most people get that there's a humor element to this thing that I do. And I guess some people really like to see goth bands be real serious all the time. And I guess he was just like one of these guys that didn't really understand it.
Well, so the quote is...
he also might be trolling too. Like he might be a joke. Like that could be a joke. I don't know.
I don't know, man. Look at it. I have a screenshot in here. Pulling up the guy.
It seems
serious. But you're right.
Yeah.
But
no, shut up.
No. Either way.
We gotta represent PJ. But the quote is, so again, the video is Contravoid.
Too Deep.
Muskoka.
It was in
Lake Erie or something.
It was on Georgian Bay.
Okay, Georgian Bay.
Perry Sound.
Okay, so Canadian video.
Yeah, Canadian content.
Some CanCon. Contravoid riding a jet ski with a drone. Cowboy hat? No.
Yeah, there's a cowboy hat.
Cowboy hat.
Like
it's like a bucket hat.
It's like a bucket hat.
Yeah,
because
like a fisherman's bucket hat.
Because I'm riding the jet ski, the cowboy hat would have just flown off my head.
Right.
But I had
It's
the
tied
drawstring. It was one of those things with the drawstring on it. So.
Okay, so the quote is, "Awesome song, worst video ever. Totally disconnected from the music lyrics, or at least he could have used the live footage. That part is it. But the jet ski scenes, no." And I quote, next part, "There's nothing dark wave, cold wave, goth, etc., about a jet skiing on a beautiful lake in the bright sun."
I forgot it.
And then you made a hoodie about
What's
it.
the
Right?
beginning? Like, worst video ever.
He goes in. He's mad. It's really awesome song, worst video ever. Totally disconnected from the music.
I totally forgot he said that. Okay. All right. So yes.
Well, because today I was like I remembered the quote. 'Cause it's very much, again, we've talked about this quote so many times. And
it's something we talk about a lot,
Yeah.
like the serious persona of artists versus like all of them actually just being kind of fun and funny in real life. You know, it's like, but so many of the fans get caught up in, not even the fans, just people get caught up in like the over seriousness of a persona, which is what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe not for you, but like of the persona, you know, and like.
And the thing is that there's nothing to be funny, to have a funny side, not even to Contravoid, to have just a funny side to you, does not mean that you were not the fucking Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep bringing back the Prince of Darkness.
But I mean that in the sense that, like, you know, by having a sense of humor doesn't mean that you're not like goth.
Yeah,
No,
like,
you know how many comedians are super dark as like
exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
you could be both. It
Yeah,
doesn't
exactly.
Need to be one or the other.
And that's what I'm saying. So wait, so did you actually print that shirt?
Yeah, so it was printed. It came out like
That's so sick.
when I guess it was the end of 2019, something like that.
That was my idea, wasn't it?
I think it was. You brought this up.
He's claiming it.
No, I only brought it. No, I'm not trying to take credit for it. But I did come up with that.
You did say you should. Yeah, I think you said you should put it on some merch. So yeah.
But I didn't bring it up to take the credit, but I brought it up because I forgot that it existed. And I first went to the YouTube page today, your YouTube page, and like scrolled through to find the comment. It's still up there.
Is it? Yeah. Okay.
It's still up there.
Good.
And then I read it, and then I went through your Instagram page again and went down. I was like, did he? But then I couldn't, because again, going back to the comedy aspect, there is a slight level of trolling within the Contravoid universe where I couldn't remember if you actually had printed the shirt or just did it as like a.
Oh no! Yeah, no, I printed it. Yeah,
That's sick.
Yeah.
And it's sold out.
I printed it. Yeah, sold out. I probably won't do it again. It was just sort of like a one-off kind of thing.
Because it even says because I have the.
I think I think I posted it like as a like. Yeah,
because I have it here. Yeah.
Yeah, I posted in stories just to get an idea of like if people would like get it, like want to buy it or whatever, and a bunch of people responded to that. So I was like, okay, I should put this as an.
Yeah. But I think it's important because I think that, and like we were saying, talking about just the idea that like it's okay, in my mind at least as an artist, it's okay to be more than just like to not be one dimensional, you know. And I feel like what I personally find so exciting about Contravoid is the fact that it's not to say that like Contravoid is like a comedian, but the music is very serious, and I love the music and it's sick. But to just every now and then like wink at the audience a little bit, you know,
sure,
and kind of just be like, and then again like the disconnect between Cam Finley and Contravoid also just creates this other avenue for you to just like
that's
roll with it in every direction you want to.
That's what's really fun about doing this is that there's a barrier, there's like a separation between this character and like who like I am really. You know, it's but it is like it's me like writing for this character. Right, like I always like making music like that and making like having music projects like go that way where like, and I liked artists that did that had like a moniker and like almost were like this like I don't know, like this character type,
right.
You know,
well, even like Bowie is like a very simple, obvious example.
Maybe the best example.
Yeah,
right?
it's just like someone who just can truly disconnect from themselves and create a character sonically. It's like
but it's existed. You know, yeah, it's existed in especially electronic music, right? Like
Yeah,
lots of stuff like that. But it also kind of happened in a weird, like, natural and not. It wasn't really ever set out to be like this. It kind of just. I don't know. I started this project being very serious.
That's what, but this is my
Like-
point. My point is that the project has existed for so long that it only makes it doesn't. It feels natural that at this point you can incorporate a level of comedy
Yeah.
into the character, because it's not like you started out with this like, here's this guy and that's kind of this like also funny. It's like, no, it was like, it was borderline, I don't know, 8 years of like kontravoid, you know, very serious imagery and whatever.
Yeah.
And that was sick, and
Well,
like that's what got you to where you are.
Yeah,
in the
so
first place.
the timeline for the project is also kind of weird. So like when I started it, it wasn't really like, there wasn't really a room to like kind of make jokes or show any kind of humor or whatever. And that was just because of like how
The pretty days.
that was yeah. Well, there was that, and it was also just like the format at the time too. Like you basically were promoting your project on like SoundCloud or like Facebook or whatever. It's like you know, the mediums weren't really.
You
there
don't even
to, like,
have to say this, because at the end of the day, like nobody we even hung out with, no one we even know made like funny music, except for like I guess like Mac DeMarco. But like you know what I mean? It's like for the most part, it's like, you know, you take your serious band picture, you take your thing, and like, you know.
Yeah, but I just also thought that, like, you know, I kind of like making jokes about this project and about things being so serious and like goth music and the goth scene and things like that. So I felt like it would just be, you know, I already kind of have like a clown-like character there that's wearing a mask or whatever. Just make this character, you know, have a sense of humor. Yeah. And I don't know, fucking around with that is fun. Like I hope people kind of have put that together, that this is like a whatever.
It's entertainment.
It's you know, it's just
entertainment in every facet of the word. It's like,
and this is all like, I feel like this is stemming from like a big cultural shift towards this kind of idea, because like there was like in early 2000s and you know, there was all seriousness in bands, like it was so serious. And I was even thinking about like certain songs or movies that like I don't think would like find a place in today's culture because they are just serious.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's just it just comes off as melodrama now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And like it doesn't fit into the cultural scene. And I don't know if this is a good or bad thing necessarily, because I think it's a good thing too. Personally, I think it's a good thing. I do think there may be some like fallback from this, where it's like we have such an impossible, like we have such a hard time being really sincere and being like just being serious, you know, and that might be a fallout of all of this, but I don't know if that's good or bad.
I think my kind of view on that is like you think of like something like Succession as a show that, or what I would just like dub like, you know, HBO content, which is these shows that are just like as dark and evil as they can be, but still have a level of comedy that's like on par with Curb.
I guess there's like the adverse of that too, where it's like there's also like less shows coming out now, I think, that are, or less like content coming out now that is just funny.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like there's
like Barry, for example.
Yeah, there's
you ever watch Barry?
We were just talking about that the other. That show's awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah.
But again, it's like technically a comedy.
But it's like I kind of miss my like Judd Apatow, like stupid 40-year-old virgin movies.
You
know what I mean? Like,
right. Just stupid.
Just a comedy. Just a straight up comedy.
Just a straight up comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they exist, but it's less so now.
Well, they do, and it's Jackass.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
We gotta see it.
Jackass.
It's like one of the greatest films of all time.
It's so good. It's so fucking good. It's, I think, both of our favorite films. Is straight up.
Let me tell you, it deserved the Oscar. Knoxville over Will Smith.
No. Maybe that was just a Jackass bit.
But going back to like the 2010s, even, it was like, you know, it wouldn't have made sense at that time. To have any kind of comedy. So the thing I was going to ask about going back to The Mask is, and I know you remember this, but I want to say it was like 2011, maybe 2010. You were at my house, the U couch, infamous days, and you were just like hanging out. Everyone was there, and you had like headphones in. You were listening to demos, and I'd be like, "Yo, like, can I play you this?" And do you remember this?
Yeah.
We're like
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the hallway,
yeah.
and you like put headphones on me, and you played me what were the I think the was Native State
Yeah,
and something else.
Probably Native State and maybe one other. I can't remember which.
But my question is, was the mask a part of that yet?
No, it wasn't, because that would have been early 2011.
Yeah.
And I think I probably just moved into the Coffin Factory building and just had the studio there.
Okay.
And so those demos that I played you were like I had an idea for a new project, but they were demos that were originally gonna be for like my previous band Parallels,
Okay.
and then just like didn't work for the band. And
well, because even the
wanted to do them.
vocal, in a sense, in Native State is kind of like a female vocals.
Yeah, I was just like,
Or there's like an echo that has like a
because the idea for like another persona was there.
Right,
Like from the
right,
beginning
right,
of this
right.
project, I knew I wanted to do like a different persona. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just change up the vocals somehow. Maybe I'll experiment with different vocal pitches or tones or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this could sound completely different to what like how I actually sound. So I was sort of like forming like the basis of what the character would sound like. Honestly, the vocals in Native State I don't think really match with what the mask looks like now, because it sounds like I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. But maybe I don't know, maybe it does. Anyway, like
maybe that was the early level of comedy in
Yeah.
Kontravoid, was
Yeah, I
the
mean, well, it's
juxtaposition of those.
For sure, yeah. I mean, it wasn't really meant to be taken too. That wasn't really meant to be taken too seriously. That
Yeah.
track, because it's a demo. It was a demo, and the vocals are the scratched vocals. Like I never really redid them. People ask for lyrics for that song all the time. I literally don't fucking know what they are. Like, like I have no idea. People really like it, and I still like. I don't play it that often. Just because it's the first track I wrote, and it doesn't really stand up to some of the new stuff. It's just like
It's still a classic though.
but I don't know what the lyrics were. Like I could probably transcribe them if I spent some time, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just think, whoa, I
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't listen to lyrics though.
Yeah.
I do.
I'm a
listen to-
big lyrics guy.
See,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
I'm big. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been a big lyrics person.
I think it's
so.
like that's. I don't know. Yeah,
you're
I'm
like a
because I'm
writer,
not.
though.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm a writer. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm only recently trying to be musical, and so like the lyrics are like always the thing that I've
Yeah.
always like thought I've known.
But
you
it's
know?
interesting because like Cam saying that is like something that I have with like many of the projects that I've done over the years in various capacities. But first of all, I had a band. So again, just to preface this whole dynamic here, Austin and I have only been
we
friends
don't
for
know each other at all.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you guys are like, yeah. Right. You guys just met and you started a podcast, right? So that's how that's
So the whole fun of this is explaining our lives to each other in real time.
We actually have stories that we haven't heard before from each other, which is great.
So I had a band called Little Girls that actually Cam played in for a bit.
There's a brief period there. Yeah.
Brief period where Cam was the drummer.
Yeah.
And that was a band where literally there were no lyrics.
Right.
And like it's been long enough and the band will never come back that I just don't care anymore. But, you know, I lied at the time and was like,
Yeah.
oh, they're buried in the mix. And they were buried in the mix. But like,
Yeah.
for the most part, I was literally just blabbering out
But
gibberish.
that's like
Yeah.
the whole Cocteau Twins like.
But they were
thing,
definitely
and, like,
saying something.
I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
Some songs, but apparently like it was kind of just an instrument for.
But that's
you
how I
know,
view
like-
it.
Yeah, that's how
That's-
what I like. I mean, I just like having vocals being another instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironically,
But it
being a lyric guy, when I write my own music, very rarely have actual lyrics because it's just like it doesn't it's not the thing that comes out
Yeah.
right away, or if it does, it's just like a mishmash of words.
Right.
You know, it's not like intentional at all.
Mhm.
But then that kind of becomes the lyrics. But it's like that's my favorite thing in music, when it's like it's not necessarily
Like up front.
up front about, and I love when vocals are like mixed back, and like that was like a sick thing about your shows. Everything felt seamless, like it didn't feel like the vocals were overpowering anything or anything
Well, that's
like
because
that.
my
It
man
was
has
just
his
like-
own mixer.
Yeah, and it
Yeah, I have a
worked.
mixer up there, but it's really just two channels. It's vocals and everything else.
Don't worry, we're not doing synth talk tonight.
You
Real-
could hear
real
them.
easy, yeah.
You could hear them, but it wasn't overpowering. It wasn't, and like
Yeah.
sometimes when I hear stuff, it's just like it's.
Yeah, that's kind of where I like
much
stuff to
more there.
sit in the mix too, because it's, I mean, the show should be like, you know, more applicable for like a club environment. That's how I want it to, you know, come
Yeah.
across. And So the vocals kind of just sit a little bit above the mix, or like almost kind of on like within the mix, like not buried, but like in there. But like the kick has got to be loud, like all the percussion's got to be loud.
You just have to feel it. It's a club environment. You have to just feel the music.
So,
but. Okay, so we got to go back to the Coffin Factory. So, okay, wait. First, before we get to this, have you ever been there?
I've never been to the Coffin.
Do you know what we're talking about?
I don't know anything about this, so I am.
This is also like you talking like Toronto like history to this guy who doesn't know anything about.
I love this though. I need this. I need the history.
This is an excuse for you to talk about the last like 10 years of like Toronto.
The thing is, I'm not here to talk about the Coffin Factory. You live there.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, all right. So this is an opening for me to talk about.
Yeah. All right. Teach me the history of Toronto.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you keep.
Okay. So to preface, the Coffin Factory was a very iconic space in Toronto. It was like it housed everyone, every sort of filmmakers, artists, musicians, general freaks.
Yeah.
Just like it was at like what, like NASA and
no, it's Niagara and Tecumseh.
Oh really? Wow. So
yeah.
It's still there. They've got their condos are being built on top of the old exterior right now because it's a historical property. So
yeah. But how did you because so first of all, Cam lived there and probably aside from the actual super lived in maybe the most units out of anyone.
I lived in like building. 5 units there, or 4 units or something like that. But I moved in 2011, and that's actually like I like actually talking about it too. I'm making fun of you for bringing it up, but
come on, that was like the era.
But it's actually very important because that's where the project really originated from. And
you have a video shot there, like all kinds of stuff exists.
So like the history of that place too was like it's an old casket company, and it made caskets for like Toronto,
literally a coffin factory.
Yeah, like the surrounding like southern Ontario and like upstate New York and like like a bunch of caskets were just made in the building.
Shit, yeah.
And
you didn't know that moving in there?
I think I did because
I feel like the Coffin Factory as a tag for the building came a little bit later. You know what I mean? Like I remember just being like that building, and then like at a certain point it was just like the Coffin Factory.
Oh, maybe you're right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe you're right. There was a guy that did like a photo documentary about the building when like a couple months after I first moved in. And it's still up there. I think it's like a Tumblr. It's like the coffinfactory.tumblr. It's still there.
Crazy.
And there's a bunch of photos. I actually posted a few recently, just of like the 10-year celebration of K-Void or whatever. And
that's my point. It's important to the story.
And there's some photos of me and the first unit that I had there, and where I recorded the first record. But this guy did document a bunch of people in the building, a bunch of artists and musicians who lived there. And I think it's just the coffinfactory.tumblr, and it's still up. And anyway, so I don't know what were we talking about.
Well, just like the history of moving into that place.
Just like what it meant to like all of us. And how it ended.
Yeah, right. I mean, and it was also very like inspiring for this character, like because it's actually very important because it was across from a slaughterhouse, right? So we got to remember that. Like when I moved in there was a slaughterhouse still active across the street from it, and they were like butchering pigs in there daily. And so I would see like the trucks go out, and I was on the top floor, like the 4th floor, so I'd look out my window.
Was that the corner unit?
Yeah, or it was the first one was like a little bit beside, but I would look out onto the slaughterhouse. And there's like trucks of like fucking dead pigs, and it was kind of and like live pigs coming in on the other side, and like dead ones coming out the whatever. Like it was pretty gross. It was not a good it was not a nice view, but anyway, it was.
And we also cannot deny the smell because you remember that smell?
Yeah, it fucking reeked
when it would waft. Like it would only occasionally. It'd be fine most days, but then you just get this like putrid smell.
It was bad,
and it was just rotting fucking corpses. Yeah, pigs. It was disgusting.
But like that was also kind of inspiration for the character too, because I was like, okay, well, I have this new project. I want it to be like a character, and I want it to have like this sort of like gothy kind of horror-esque vibe to it. Like, what kind of person would like live in this building across from a fucking slaughterhouse that used to be a coffin factory? So like, I'll make up this character, kontravoid, and have a mask, and then that's sort of like the origins of the character, honestly. So that building was like very important to how this project originated, because I kind of was just like, okay, who would live in here or whatever, and sort of like when over exaggerated, whatever, how that person would write music basically. So,
what it would sound like.
Yeah, what it would sound like, and and then we we did the Silent Visions video there, and like basically just driving around Toronto and video footage of like through the hallways and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't know. There's some shots of the slaughterhouse actually. There's the first shot in the video is just the smokestack, which is outside my apartment window.
Yeah.
Of like this, smokestack, just like.
That wasn't the photo that Norman Wong took, though.
No, it wasn't. No,
What
but
was
that
that
was around the
thing?
same time. That was around Pearson Airport. That was
Okay.
they were building a new.
Have you ever seen that photo? I almost want to like pull it up.
I think I have. Yeah.
It's like an iconic. It's kind of like an iconic photo.
Those were like. Also, Norman is very important to like the aesthetic of like the aesthetic of the project too.
Yeah.
Because those photos that we did, that was maybe the first. That was the first like professional photo shoot I did for the project and for the album and everything.
It's like Kontravoid wearing like a trench coat
Yeah.
with like smokestacks.
No, I totally have seen it.
It's
yeah.
he's just wearing the mask.
So who was all like a part of the Coffin Factory? Like who, like not but like what was the scene like around this place? You said there was filmmakers, musicians.
So
there was an after hours. There was like a BDSM dungeon in one of those units too.
Crazy.
Like literally again, I've never been there, but I'm just saying that you know about the things that went on there. It was like, but there was
we
like,
we had the club. We had one of that unit like as. We actually should talk about that because that was
we got to go down to that. Yeah,
that was a New Year's party we did. We had that open unit.
Okay, so a little to preface though. Okay, so sort of in an era when Cam and I became good friends was when I was doing Prince Innocence, he was doing Kontravoid. We had a other group of friends that were doing electronic music within various degrees of genre, but like all kind of fit under one kind of thing, and. Somehow so a label spawned out of this, and like they put out Silent Visions, the first Kontravoid record.
Well, the first Kontravoid record is self-titled, but it's Silent Visions was the first like single or the second single.
It is just self-titled.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was just referred to it as Silent Visions.
I know. Well, I mean, it was like one of the videos for it.
Yeah, literally have just been. I'm like, the first one's Silent Visions.
That's all right.
Yeah. So like that label put out the first Kontravoid record, one of my records, a bunch of other bands, all just again like in the sort of electronic world of things. Somehow, I don't even know how, it was someone's wild idea to have a label headquarters for a kind of non-existent label. Like the label existed, but the records were basically just printed, given to us. And
then we shipped them out.
Did their own thing with them.
It was just like a kind of a short-lived label, but we had like an office, like an office for, and basically it was just like my landlord like rented a unit to us for 2 months. We only kept it for 2 months, and those 2 months were like November and December 2013. So, but it was beside like there was also a wood factory in the building, and a lot of the exhaust from the machines would literally just be going into our unit. So like
was it a basement or was it
it was a basement. Yeah. So like so it was like a very unhealthy environment.
Yeah, it was like bad.
Yeah, it was not the safest place.
we had friends that like were just like kind of bums who would just like live there.
Yeah. There was like a couch and there was a shitty pool table that we found on Craigslist. We put in there. Yeah.
I mean, if you scroll deep enough back into my Instagram, there's pictures of us at the clubhouse. Yeah. It's like me, Cam, and some.
But it was a factory basement room or whatever.
But then you also had like it wasn't just like scumbags. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
But it wasn't just scumbags.
I mean, I actually I set up a little studio in there for a while, and I recorded some stuff down there.
In the basement?
In the basement, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying that like the clientele outside of that, like it was like you also had like Nick DeGeneva, who's like an artist and teacher at OCAD. You had Kelly Mark, who's like a famous Canadian artist. I can't remember. I'm actually not sure her medium, but she was like, I went to the AGO and like her work is like there. Like it was like, it wasn't just like, but again, it was like, that was what was so great about it is it truly attracted so many different walks of life and just different people who just had these weird spaces.
And also to give this building a bit of context too, this building had been like under threat of being like developed into a condo for years and years. So like the landlords had kind of just checked out, and like a lot of people sort of just like were expecting to get evicted at any moment. So it just felt like, everything was sort of like paid under the table, like in cash or whatever, and people were just like, so these units kept becoming available because they thought they were gonna have to lose their apartment every like any any day or whatever, like or any month. Anyway, that just kept going for about 10 years.
I remember that being just like kind of hovering over for literally 10 years.
Like this could be gone at any moment.
Yeah.
But that's so sick.
But so
and that
everyone
must have
kinda
like
lived-
put the pressure on like everybody living there to like really kind of take advantage
Exactly.
of it.
Yeah. And when I was living there, I was just like, this is not reality. This is like, I'm not gonna be fucking
this
doing,
isn't
like,
forever.
I cannot do this, so I better make the most out of it. And it was actually a very and that's actually kind of like that. I mean, that connects to a very like a much more important point where like, artist facilities are so important to like cities to like
100%.
like that doesn't exist
That
really.
literally does not exist. Period in Toronto.
Yeah,
I feel like
that was maybe the last one. I mean, the one on Ossington.
On Ossington, which is where, funnily enough, that's where Nick DeGeneva went after he left the coffee factory, and then of course that. And
is that now a condo too?
It's gone. I mean, I haven't been up
so
there.
was the coffin factory like government like funded or like supported?
No, it was just a guy. This guy bought it in the 80s. He was, I guess, he was an artist, or he just had some appreciation for like the arts and music community in Toronto, and was like, I want this building to be like artist studios, and that's what it's going to be like since whenever he took it over, like I guess it was the early 80s or maybe late 80s or something like that, But yeah, and then eventually a developer, give him enough money to buy the property. Yeah. But I think he was also getting old too, so he had to sell the property.
Yeah.
But
I
anyway.
mean, and not to even like thankfully, that place existed long enough, at least for us, where it's like it wasn't like something where you had this magic moment that only lasted for one summer or 1 year or 2 years. It's like. It existed for long enough that like when it did, and again, knowing that it was always on the cusp of being destroyed and that it was all just going to go to shit. The fact that when it did happen, it was a very bittersweet moment. Not bittersweet. It was a very sad moment, but it was kind of like really closing like a chapter.
Yeah. So it was. Yeah, exactly.
But then
we all knew that.
The fucking blowout of the century,
and we had like the last
hurrah,
last big party there. Which was really fun. I mean, Josh DJ'd.
And it was your birthday.
It was my birthday, which is weird.
Happy belated, by the way.
Played another show. Yeah, thank you.
Well, because
I didn't know it was your birthday until like like the show.
Also, my birthday 2 days ago.
Say happy birthday.
Show night.
Happy birthday, Cam.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, because the joke is when we were talking about it was like trying to and again I don't think anybody even tried to, but you can't relive that. But we were joking, being like, we got to relive that night because it was Cam's birthday, and it was just such a vibe.
Yeah, well, it's also something unheard of happened in Toronto that night, and that's like people showed up at like 8:30 p.m. and packed a place.
Yeah,
which was
really
never happened. I would go as far as that's never happened
like,
since.
Maybe 9, but it was fucking rammed, and like 200 people or 200 or 300 people crammed in this like. Whatever.
Your apartment.
Yeah, not a very big space,
but
and
big enough. It was pretty
big
big
enough. Yeah. Anyway, it was just it was great though.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing. That sounds like exactly the thing that like so many people around my age are like searching for.
Yeah.
Like a space like that and like a crowd like that, and like
this is what I'm so curious about, like your generation. Is no, but just like it's interesting to me because how do you cultivate these scenes and these moments? How do you find these when now the city, as our friend Big Mike would call it, Emerald City? It's just called.
That's what he calls it.
yeah.
But think about it. If you like, it's all that emerald condo color.
But that's why it's like all gone online. It's all gone online because like there is actually very few physical spaces.
Yes, it doesn't exist.
That give what online gives to people, and it like unfortunately for me, it doesn't give me anything online. Like I cannot get behind it. But like people are getting a small taste of what it feels like to be involved in a culture on the internet.
Yeah.
And that ultimately I think they all want a culture that's in real life, but it doesn't exist. And B, I think they get just enough from the culture that exists on the internet that they don't go out and try to make something happen in real life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's such a dangerous concoction.
Yeah.
Because
it brews like extremism.
That's exactly what it does, because you're shouting into a void where no one, like, the only people that like disagree with you are just like people typing on their computers that mean nothing.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not real people. But like when you exist in a community and you're in like whatever, a scene,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
in real life,
Yeah.
you have to talk to people.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have to
absolutely.
like be a real person, and you have to communicate with people
And face the consequences.
Face the consequences
for,
of all
like,
your actions,
yeah.
and like that's so important
Yeah.
for not becoming an extremist incel.
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
much. Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But like, and I remember growing up and like I would always hear about these like scenes like the Coffin Factory or like stuff that would happen in New York, and like just being like, what? Like, this is so sick. I can't wait for my turn. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't wait.
so
fuck.
Oh,
No,
my
I mean,
God.
like, I can't wait to
Yeah.
be like 19
I know.
and like 19 to 30 or whatever, and like be in a city, and like I was just so stoked for it, and like be a part, and like it happened. There was things,
But you have to always remember as well, though, not to cut you off.
well, yeah,
but-
it's also you.
But I'm cutting you off.
No, cut me off. Cut me off. Cut me off.
Sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, don't cut him off. No,
Cut me off. No, yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I
I'm
forgot what I
sorry.
was saying. Fuck. Well, I think what you were gonna say is that
I was gonna say that you never,
like,
you'll
it's
never appreciate it at the time.
Exactly.
We
I think
certainly
that's so
didn't.
true.
We just straight up didn't.
But I do think, yeah, I agree 100%, and I try to be very careful about being like nostalgic and stuff about times that I never lived.
Mm-hmm.
But when I talk to people, I'm like, holy shit, this actually didn't exist
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
or doesn't exist for me,
So does it just not exist for you? Like,
or I'm just not invited. Like, it could be that too. I don't know. That actually probably is it.
but I mean, I think that's an important thing to talk about too. Where it's just like, where is the next, like, where is this going? Where that was like, you know, it was obviously an important thing to go to DIY shows and
Yeah.
and like hopefully something like that comes back a little bit more. I mean, I think
Can it?
I think it will. I mean, I think it has already.
I
But
think
like,
it's starting
but maybe it's
again.
going to
Yeah.
exist in like both worlds, and maybe like the, you know, the online world will become a little bit more like
IRL.
less toxic. Like maybe there will be
Hopefully, yeah.
places that will be like less, like, you know, more community driven. I mean, I think that's what, you know, obviously those are the optimistic intentions, and hopefully that does exist, because it would be great if something like that could happen that mimics what, you know, what we're just talking about, but like, you know, like online somewhere. Like,
But yeah, I just don't know if it's ever going to feel the same online, because it's like, I mean, I've been saying for a while that we need a new social media. Like, we need like a new Instagram. Like, we
Yeah.
need like
Yeah.
a new thing.
well, I mean, that's all. I mean, that's going to be gone in a couple of years. I feel
Yeah,
like.
yeah. But I feel like the
Like,
last like the last big thing like to come was like TikTok, and like that's sick. But again, it's global. It's like it's not showing you people that you know, and it's not
Right.
showing you people that you care about. You know.
Yeah.
And like that's, I think the big thing is like these things happened locally then.
And that's kind of interesting that you bring that up, because I almost feel like, in a weird way, Facebook was local.
We should bring back Facebook.
Yeah. Well,
But think about it though, because like, you know what I mean though.
Yeah, no, totally.
Like,
'Cause
Facebook, in a
Facebook
sense-
was back. Like, you could post on Facebook being like, "Hey, what's everyone doing tonight?"
And people would go this.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was like a real thing that you
yeah,
could do.
we were talking. I was talking about that with the other Josh earlier about like events and like
Yeah.
how important that was.
Yeah.
But like, you know that.
But I think it was important
not
not,
gonna happen.
because of the events or the page aspect of attending a thing on Facebook. I think what was interesting about it was kind of what Austin was saying, is that TikTok, Instagram, these are algorithms, right? These have explore. There's no explore page on Facebook. You just saw what your friends were doing and your friends' friends were doing, and that's how you cultivated like scenes and became friends with other people. Like,
Well, I remember like first moving to university, and like it would be like you just go through. There'd be like a list of Facebook events of like where your friends were going and like who was saying attending to this or maybe this, and then you just like genuinely you just gauge what thing to go to based on who had said yes to
who
this
was going and
like,
what was happening.
yeah, and like that actually has gone away in the last like 2 years. Like honestly, I think since the onset of the last 2 years,
Yeah.
which I don't even want to say the word anymore. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
But like,
We don't say COVID. We say K-Void.
It's switched. It's switched to I think probably close friends stories.
Yeah.
And it just became a lot less of an inviting thing. You know what I mean? It was like the things that were happening were because no one wanted to say that they were doing things.
Yeah.
And so maybe again, this is also our problem. Is like maybe we're talking about things like just maybe a month too soon. It's going to happen within the next like 2 weeks.
I think it'll happen. We'll see.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But you were also in the States though, Cam. So like you forget that you had the like.
Oh, well, like in
the luxury of just not, I shouldn't say luxury, but like, things opening sooner.
Well, yeah.
Because you just weren't here where it was like very much like
right.
shut
So
down.
stuff is like actually
now we're
kind
back.
of coming back. Yeah.
But COVID's also back, so I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, yeah. I mean, there was like a window in the fall that was great for touring. It kind of felt like things were up and running again. But I mean, I just whatever. It's just gonna happen. Like you have to go on tour and like.
Well, you're also lucky because you can actually wear a mask under your mask, and no one would know.
I could, yeah.
Like you could like totally protect yourself.
Did you ever do a mask kontravoid mask?
There's a photo somewhere of like it's a photoshopped kontravoid mask or whatever, wearing a mask somewhere. I'm sure. Actually, I know there is. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Coffin Factory. That sounds like a dream.
We're looping back to that again.
No, we don't have to go back.
I just wanted to say that sounds like a dream.
It is a thing that I wonder about. But you know what? I remain optimistic. I do think that something will pop up and hopefully.
But I don't think it's gonna go back to like what we were just talking about. It's gonna be like a mix of like online community and like in real life stuff. It's just like that's just how it is. That's just how things are.
Yeah. It's just online now, but not entirely. It doesn't have to be entirely.
Yeah.
But how you mix those, I don't know.
I don't know. We're in like I think like trial stages of like a new, I don't know, like social experiment of how people like get along with each other and develop scenes and things like that. I think it's actually exciting, honestly.
I hope so.
It's
another optimist on the
we're talking about it as if it's like a negative thing, and that's easy to talk about because there's been a lot of negativity obviously with the last couple of years, but I don't know. I think that spawns like new ways of creating things.
For sure.
Well, and I think there's just like an urge to be with each other
for sure.
Which is huge, and like humans are going to find a way. Like that's, if anything, humans are people that find a way. You know what I mean?
And that's again why the show on fucking Wednesday was so like incredible.
It was crazy.
Aside from it just being a great show.
Yeah, well, there was like people there that I hadn't seen in like years.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. And like people who like haven't gone out, I think, who I saw out all of a sudden, and the Goths came out.
The Goths came out in
sick.
full.
Yeah,
That was
Goths,
crazy.
yeah. Well, there's a few people that I've noticed at those shows, like since like maybe the first Kontravoid show in Toronto, which is which is awesome.
Really,
there's two people specifically at that show.
That's amazing.
Like
to have a even the concept of fans in 2022 is a very interesting concept because you have fans like even being like old and being like 5 years ago, like I liked them on Facebook, but like, or I follow them, you know what I mean? But to have a fan, because I could say that I like and follow and acknowledge a lot of great musicians, but would I go out to go see them? Like, I'd go out of my way for it, but like,
it's actually really awesome to see. There's a couple people there that I noticed from like the first shows in 2012.
So
or the first shows were maybe. The first shows were like early 2012. Like
No, they were.
Yeah, they were.
They were.
10 years ago. Anyway,
we're old.
Yeah.
We're just old now. But so I was gonna say, as a solo artist, not only are you a solo artist, but you're someone who tours alone.
Right.
I talk to you all the time, and it's always K-Void's in fucking Idaho right now, driving to da-da-da. Like, you're very much a lone wolf driver guy because you can. It's a one-man show. What's that like?
Well...
You definitely go a little insane.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the last few shows have been okay because they've just been sort of one-offs and... they're usually touring with friends. But there have been a couple tours where I've done on my own, and mainly in like 2019, Yeah, like it's. I mean, I really love the fact that I did them. Like,
Yeah.
you know, honestly, like you finish something like that and you feel really like there's something like very like I don't know fulfilling about it.
Yeah.
That I drove by myself for 6 weeks around the United States and like
Yeah.
almost went insane and just like probably
Were you shooting
came
content
close to
too?
dying a couple times. I mean,
Because okay, hold on. And I feel like this never came out. But did you not shoot stuff with like a kontravoid dummy in the passenger seat?
that's when I moved to Portland. Actually, that was a different story. I was talking about that. There was the tour in 2019 where I was like, I did like a 6 week tour or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about parts of like that drive now where you know I was exhausted and probably should not have been driving, or like you know there's one point where I hit a really bad hailstorm in Texas and I was driving from El Paso to San Antonio, and that's like a 10 or 11 hour drive, and there were just like these just giant pellets of hail like hitting the car. I was by myself and I was exhausted and I was just like, this is like, what am I doing? Like this is like ridiculous. I'm driving
mask in the
driving by
passenger
myself.
seat.
Yeah, pretty much. But I had to get to like the next show to like every show on the tour really like counted. So like,
Right, yeah.
I had to get to the show
Yeah.
and play it that night and like whatever. It ended up happening. But I think about stuff like that sometimes and being like, you know, maybe not the safest decision,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
anyway, whatever.
But it's the dedication
Yeah.
though. It's a sick dedication
Yeah.
to do it alone. Like not even for the
I wouldn't.
sake of being like tired and alone, but also just the sort of mental aspect of just being
Yeah.
like
It's an interesting way to like sparse out solitude, because it's like you're going from being by yourself for however long the drive is and then being in a crowd of people
Yeah.
again. And, like that's an like that I would feel like it's a shock to the system.
For sure. But that was also a very like that was directly after the show the last Coffin Factory show. So it was kind of like at that time in my life, I really wanted to do that. Like I was like kind of moving out of Toronto, and I was like, okay, I'm out and I'm going to drive around the States and do this tour.
Yeah.
And, so I don't know if I would do anything like that extensive ever again, but like maybe, you know, a couple weeks or whatever, but it's just like, it's a lot to do on your own sometimes. And honestly, I don't know, I mean, I really love it. Yeah, I really love it, but I would never do a 6-week tour. I think.
Yeah.
By myself.
Just by yourself.
Yeah.
Listening to
Again.
the boys are back in town.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, there's actually a lot of Thin Lizzy like on that drive. I have nobody else to explain that to except myself. Just me listening to Thin Lizzy.
I know you love Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, I love Thin Lizzy.
It's a little known controversial fact. The man loves his Thin
Yeah,
Lizzy.
It's actually great. It's maybe the best driving music, honestly.
Phil Lynott, man,
Yeah,
he's a legend.
yeah.
Did you ever listen to his like demos?
Solo and
His solo demos?
Oh no, I was gonna say Solo and Soho. Was not the.
Yeah, but somebody put out like there's like a demo comp that I think just came out.
I don't
It's,
know.
like,
No,
sick.
really.
It's sick. It's just like him and like a fucking drum machine and like a keyboard.
Oh shit.
But they're like rock and roll songs, but on like a keyboard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love the
It's
solo Phil Lynott stuff.
It's very sick. Do we have any more Contravoid the actor happening soon?
What do you mean the actor?
I mean,
Like-
you're in the Boy Harsher film.
Oh, you mean like the dead? Yeah, the dead
Oh,
guy.
the cameos?
dead
you've
corpse?
been making cameos
Yeah.
as yourself
Um,
and as you're an
oh.
actor.
Yeah, there's nothing else really coming up, honestly. Wish I had something.
I just think I love the idea.
I think that's sick. Yeah, they're like
We need more Contravoid. We need the Contravoid acting arc to.
Yeah, maybe I could pursue that at some point. Yeah.
As a character, you know, he could just
Sure.
because as you build the character, he could appear in movies as himself.
I don't know. Well, yeah, we were talking about this the other night. Like, I mean, I need to build up this character to be like more. I do want to do more like film work. Like we were talking about this, like, you know, other documentary. What you're talking about with a dummy in the back seat, that whole thing.
Yeah.
That was going to be for another documentary, like called
Enter the Void 2.
No, Inside the Void 2. And it was going to be called Inside the Void 2 Across the Void. That's when I drove across the states when I moved to Portland and had the dummy in the back seat. And I'd have a bunch of footage for this, like, which I drove across during the U.S. election as well. Like, and it was like peak COVID, and it was like U.S. election, and really seeing some psychotic parts of the states driving, my car with like the dummy in the back seat with the mask on. And it was a weird time, obviously. So I felt like there should be like some sort of documentary.
But you have
made
the
about
footage.
Yeah, I recorded a bunch of stuff, but I ended up stopping recording it quite a bit because like I had like a camera mounted to like the headrest of the car seat in my car, and was trying to record like the dummy in the back with the mask on while I was driving on the highway. And like there were a couple times where I like almost got into accidents. I was like, this is stupid. If I like get into an accident trying to record like the fucking kontravoid dummy in the back seat, and
not a good way to go.
Yeah. So anyway, there's some footage from that. I'll maybe piece it together at some point. But
because so is it a sequel to?
Yeah, it's a sequel to the original documentary, and just Inside the Void. You can watch it on YouTube. It's filmed in Belleville, Ontario.
Of course. It's an iconic video. Iconic video.
Belleville, Ontario. Mm-hmm. What's next for you? Where are you?
What's next?
I don't think we said where you were going on tour next.
Yes. What's next is a 5-week tour with Adult.
Hell yeah.
In the U.S., there's one Canadian show in Vancouver for Verboten Festival. But yeah, covering most of the U.S. over the next like not next 5 weeks, from April 13th until May 20th.
Okay.
And yeah, all that info is on my Instagram or Twitter. And
It's all on. And the totally last random question I want to ask you: did you play a show with Cradle of Filth?
No, I didn't. No, why? Oh wait, I played a festival.
You did?
Yeah.
I'm not making this up.
No, yeah, but there, that's like, it was like a Web Gothic festival in Leipzig, like 2019, and they were just like at another stage. It was just like, and that festival too is different venues around the city, so it's like you could be playing a show. It's like saying for Toronto references. It's like if like Cradle of Filth were playing the Phoenix, and like kontravoid is playing like
Baby G.
the Baby G. So like,
did you see them?
I didn't, honestly. I and it sucks because I really wanted to see them.
There is a connection that I find to Cradle of Filth and kontravoid in the aesthetic with the videos. And turning them into these kind of like moments of like, and I would even argue that some of Danny Filth's directing is kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Like humorous goth stuff. Like it's like over the top kind of goth.
Yeah, it's like, like have you ever seen a Cradle of Filth video?
Yeah.
like stuff where it's like, there's one that I always remember that I saw when I was in grade 9, and it's like a bunch. It's videos that Cradle to the Enslaved, but it's also so over the top and almost B-movie horror.
Yeah,
that it's like funny.
Right.
Yeah,
it's gross, but it's not like.
Well, I think that's
realistic.
a big thing. Like B-movie horror was never supposed to be funny when it was made. You know what I mean? Like
but now it is.
That's a great kind of like overarching like. Of how the culture has changed.
Absolutely.
Those things were actually serious when they came out.
For sure. Hey, this is actually a very good like way to wrap, because that's kind of like what this kontravoid is. It's like it's exactly what it is.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know, it's always been this B-movie character that like originally was supposed to be serious, and now is just kind of like a comic or whatever.
Yeah, you can take what you want from it.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. That's perfect.
That's perfect. I think we wrapped that up. All right.
We're good.
We're gonna have to end this with nitrous.
Oh yeah.
It'll blend in right now.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming over.
Of course,
Well, also not thanks.
Thank you.
We're just gonna hang out now. Let's go.
Felt the air rise up in me, kneel down and clear the stone of leaves. I wander out where you can't see, inside my shell I wait and bleed. I felt the air rise up in me, kneel down and clear the stone of leaves. I wander out where you can't see, inside my shell I wait and bleed. Goodbye, a woman of our time, the night is but of this time. Everything is turning fast for me.
Get the mood lighting.
So new metal.
Bonus content.
Yeah, what was the
We were talking about new metal, just in general,
Okay.
as kind of a precursor to how we all got here.
It's a precursor well, also related to the last actual podcast I did, like
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Tomb Raider.
Okay, so what is
tell us about that.
2020.
what constitutes a new metal podcast? Sorry, a new metal movie.
Yeah, we shouldn't we shouldn't talk too much about like I don't know make this like a new metal podcast. But
No.
this is like
No, but this is like I said, this is bonus content. This is for the patrons.
okay. I don't know what were we even talking about. Yeah.
You were talking about like the new metal podcast you did, doing like a new metal movie thing.
Oh yeah, I got that was we were talking about how that was like the last actual interview that I did,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
funny.
What year was this?
It was like 2 years ago. It's like 2020. like I don't really we were talking about. It was like I don't really do many interviews where it's like a conversation. Or whatever.
Right.
But the last one I did would have been this like new metal podcast for Sean. For Sean.
But we can't deny that. Okay, new metal is maybe the most underrated and misrepresented genre of music ever.
Mm-hmm.
It literally brought us. You
I
can't
think
deny
so.
that it brought us to it.
I mean, that was the pinnacle of like wanting to get into music for me was
Same.
because that's when I was in high or like junior high school and
Yeah.
early high
Well,
school
for me,
or
it was
whatever.
Slipknot, Marilyn Manson, Korn.
Yeah.
Those were the ones that like really got me into like.
The Slipknot was
Absolutely.
huge for me too, even
Yeah.
like as a young kid.
Yeah.
Like,
Slipknot's the
I remember.
best.
Yeah,
I,
Slipknot is
I think
fucking
the
best.
worst thing I ever did, and I probably shouldn't. I'll say this for the Patreon subscribers. only, the worst thing I ever did was we like, my friend had a little sister, and we like made her watch the Slipknot music videos, and she was just like, "What the fuck is?" She was like, "Yeah, it was bad."
Slipknot's so sick.
But I was like a kid.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
it's evil.
I mean, for me, yeah, it was like I think the biggest band would have been Korn
Yeah.
and probably Slipknot and Nine Inch
Yeah.
Nails. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Nine Inch Nails fit into that.
I don't
but,
think Nine Inch Nails counts
but,
because even for me,
But I'm
being
thinking about that time.
Yeah.
yeah. But Korn, Korn just had the best branding for a 12-year-old. Todd McFarlane doing the video for fucking
Absolutely, yeah.
what's it called? The Bullet.
Yeah, we just watched like the Spawn HBO series.
Okay,
Like,
that shit is so good.
it's so fucking good. It's the best. It's the fucking. It's so good.
We talk about
Seriously.
Spawn on the
Yeah, we totally
Timpa
did.
Pod.
Have you watched it recently though?
Not
Like,
recently, because Tim was
oh,
obsessed. Tim was obsessed with Spawn.
I mean, I was obsessed with Spawn too because I worked in a comic book shop for a while
Okay.
too, and I collected all the Spawn comics.
Me
from, like,
too.
1 to
You know-
100 or something like that. Like,
Straight up, and I'm sure you know. Do you realize? Have you ever looked up how much Spawn issue 1 is, which I used to have?
it's not that much, is it? How much is
Let
it?
me pull it up.
Is it a lot?
Yes, it's like nuts. I remember looking this up and being like,
I don't want to
Well,
know
there-
if it's a lot
I
because
used
I
to have this
I don't think I
comic.
have. I definitely don't have it anymore. I don't like honestly. Don't pull it up, man.
I mean, this is embarrassing for the both of us because I straight up had it.
I definitely had it. I definitely had probably like a couple copies of it too. Like I love Spawn.
That much.
Oh, never mind. It was $30.
Yeah, it's not.
We're good. We're good.
I swear I
That's what I
read.
thought because
But I bet you it will blow up because there's like, isn't there supposed to be a movie? And
They
shit?
they made a movie.
They made.
they
okay.
they made a movie in the.
but they're making
90s.
it. According to Timper, they're making a new one.
Huh.
Okay, it's worth like $100.
No, I remember looking up Spawn comics not that long ago because like I think I still had a few of them, and they were actually just like still the same price as what they would have
Right.
sold for, and I
But that was Spawn. No, it's funny you said that because Spawn was literally like I used to have the action figures. Like I used to collect them. I had the Spawn action figures. I had what was his name with the Terrorizer or something or like
what the clown. You
I
mean?
had the clown. But there was a guy who was like he's like a big
yeah, I know
like
what you mean. The one with the insect kind of arms.
yeah
and stuff like that.
yeah he had like big Violator.
Yeah,
Violator.
His name was
His name was Violator. His name was literally Violator. I had the like my man. I honestly wish I had those toys still. Like they were just like the sickest. The design, like a lot of them were like kind of half rubber, half plastic. Like they had like really nice detail. Like I don't know. This is real nerdy shit. But like,
Yeah, but it's like a.
but it was the sickest. Like that was like my like introduction to like, and kind of makes sense when I think about like getting into like dark music when I was like younger. So it was probably into those things from like grade 4 to like 6, let's say. And then grade 7, like, you know, all of a sudden you see a band called Slipknot. And then you see Korn, who the guy who invented Spawn is doing the videos and the album artwork. And you're just like, oh.
The Spawn to Slipknot pipeline?
Yeah, Spawn to Korn.
Spawn to Korn.
Spawn to Korn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, H.R. Geiger, like there's like he had like the guy from Korn had the mic stand like designed by Geiger.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah, and it looked awesome. I mean, all those guys are fucking nerds too, right?
Well,
They have to be like.
You know who bought the biggest piece at that show was Kerry King from Slayer.
Really?
No way.
What was the piece?
I think it was like a chair.
Oh shit.
I think. I'd have to. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But there was like a big piece that was like sold to like Kerry King from Slipknot.
So,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, what were we talking? Yeah, but Slipknot. Someone was telling me like the other night. Somebody I ran into. I didn't know this, but like the guy who's Clown in Slipknot, he's like the fucking like almost like the mastermind of the band. Like the guy's like playing the like drum.
the custom percussion.
Yeah, but like he's like the dude.
Really?
Yeah, he's like the guy who like kind of like him and like what's the other? What's the singer's name? Like Corey
Taylor.
Corey Taylor.
Yeah.
Like it's like I mean it's him and the other guy, but
Don't forget. Come on, can't forget about Sid.
yeah, no,
The DJ. I love Sid. Was always my favorite.
Sid was my
Who
favorite.
had the long nose?
Yeah.
Sid's sick.
Yeah.
And he also, believe it or not, has like a weird like industrial like breakbeat album that came in like 2003, and it's like sick. It's just like but just with like weird synths and like
That's so sick.
samples of like people screaming. It's like really good.
Damn. All right. Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was like I just thought it was funny hearing about like the guy who plays he's the clown plays a fucking trash can is like running the fucking show basically. Like,
But that makes sense
you know?
because you remember watching, and I might have been a music video, but it also might have been just like live footage. Him and the other guy who played the like trash drums, they would like fight on stage. It was all like part of the like show was that they would be like kind of like touching their faces and being like fuck you, and then just like fighting each other. Honestly, the best band.
Seriously.
Like one like
For sure.
if you look at my phone right now, it's just funny because of like who people think I am versus like if they looked at the downloaded albums on my phone.
It's all like emo music and
It's fucking no. It's mostly like new metal. It's like Deftones. I have Iowa. I have the Slipknot record, the first one on there. Maybe a couple Korn records, but like that shit is like when I just like feel like I don't know. When we start like running, which we talked about before.
yeah, we're gonna start running. We
Slipknot,
promise. guys.
Slipknot is just like
I just think it's pretty sick that you were able to form a band and get all your friends involved and be like,
9 of them.
We're gonna wear masks and we're all gonna
Yeah.
do this and this is all gonna be our thing.
and
this is that.
jumpsuits. The jumpsuits is a whole other. People talk about the masks, but kind of don't talk about the jumpsuits. The jumpsuits almost made it creepier.
Yeah,
Like a
right,
bunch of
yeah.
guys in masks and like, because again, like think of like
Kiss had happened and like
Kiss
there
had
was,
happened,
like, stuff that
Mudvayne
was-
came after, and it
yeah.
was like none of it had the same effect. But something, and again, they weren't even black jumpsuits; they were orange jumpsuits initially.
Were they?
Yeah, yeah.
Like convict?
Like they were, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I say this as a a Slipknot head, but they were like orange jumpsuits initially. Like first album cover, they're wearing orange jumpsuits. All the videos, all the shows, orange jumpsuits. But it was kind of like. And by Iowa, their second album, it was like black jumpsuits. But what was scary as a kid and fascinating was they weren't just like, it wasn't obviously scary. They weren't wearing like all black with scary masks. They were wearing orange with scary masks. And that's what made it just like more terrifying and more fascinating.
Yeah.
Like I have like a very vivid memory of like going to school in grade 7 and just being up early for whatever reason that day and like eating like toast or whatever. And my mom's like whatever, like watching Much Music and just
I'm
like
watching Slipknot.
no.
before going to
And for
school.
some reason on TV, the Wait and Bleed video came on.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
a
'cause that shit
live
was like
video.
that was on Much
was
Music.
on
like, it was like
TV.
it was
Yeah, it was
on
on
TV,
TV, yeah.
which is crazy
Yeah.
to me because like nowadays that would not.
Yeah.
I feel like that won't be on TV.
No. I mean, what, like,
Well,
you don't even, what
I
plays
feel like that would have
music
just
videos?
fell
Yeah.
into a niche somehow.
Yeah.
But not like that, like it was like it was a real.
Yeah.
It was
thing.
on all
like,
the time.
Like I was like 6 years old and I knew who Slipknot
Yeah.
was.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, it's
the guys with the masks.
fully new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've talked about this before too, where it was a similar thing where Much Music had like what was it, Power Hour, or they had like the shows at midnight.
Loud.
Was it Loud?
Yeah, Much Loud.
Okay,
Which became a channel, but before that was like a show. It was the Punk Show.
Yeah, it was a punk show, and that was
and then
Loud, right?
Yeah,
okay.
and then after that was the Wedge, or before.
No, I think before it was the Wedge.
Maybe the Wedge was before. Yeah.
Whatever they played like Cradle of Filth on, I remember watching that at like midnight as a kid and being like, "This is like terrifying." Like this is like they played like from or they played from Cradle to Enslave, and they played
It's not
Her Ghost in the Fog.
Her Ghost in the Fog.
Right.
That was probably the first one that I saw. And
after we do this, I need to show you some of these music.
Yeah,
videos.
right.
have
Austin,
seen
yeah,
some of
We
them.
gotta
I think
show
I
Austin
have.
some of these videos
Yeah.
because they're just like
and they just like
nuts.
they
Yeah.
played that stuff at midnight, and it was so fucking good. 'Cause
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just like, what am I?
Yeah.
But also before that too, the Wedge, they would play like Aphex Twin. And
Yeah.
you watch the video for Window Liquor and all that.
Really?
like,
Okay, so
And also fucking terrifying music
so,
videos. They
so
were like,
here's the funniest thing: is oddly enough, I would say, at the time, the scarier video to me
was the
Window Liquor video.
Yeah.
And
Is that
not,
the alien one?
No,
no, that's Come to Daddy.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Come to Daddy.
But I think that's more terrifying. Honestly,
that Come to Daddy
that's
fucks me up.
that's a
I actually
terrifying
think
video.
Window Liquor's scarier because Window Liquor is like real life.
Yeah.
And you also have 10 minutes of guys talking.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, yo, girl, what the fuck? It just goes. It's like, it's. I think about that video so much because the first time I saw that video, I truly was like, what am I watching right now? Like, I'm watching The Wedge, but this is these guys have been talking for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened. And then all of a sudden, like that extra, like the long shot of the limo just keeps going. And then like
It's
Richard DJ, it's that video honestly has scared me and had more of an impact on me than the scary stuff that either Aphex Twin or any of those.
They were
Really?
both Chris Cunningham videos, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think the Come to Daddy video is like more terrifying. Honestly,
That one.
It
I
is.
remember
It is.
seeing that for the
Something
first time.
like-
and it fucked me up.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, well, also the song is a little bit more terrifying too. Like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
Amazing song.
yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
The last I saw this. It was a what was it? God damn, I cannot think of the band. I'll send it to you. But it was
Okay.
just like it was by something Balthazar.
The restaurant?
Eddie Balthazar. I don't know. I need to figure out who it was. It was like a fairly like well-known artist. And I'm mad that I can't think of it. But it was the last time I saw like a music video that
was like scary.
scared me to my core in like a really sick way. Like it was
Right.
just like a beautiful video. I think it was like about someone like transitioning too.
Okay.
But it was absolutely insane.
Okay.
And like it was so sick, and it reminded me so much of the Come to Daddy video. But why can I not think of the? Keep talking, and I'll think.
We'll
about it.
figure it out.
We'll
yeah.
find it. We'll find it.
Yeah, maybe you'll watch the video and.
But that's
The song was called "Fuck You." It had like multiple F's and multiple U's, and then "Fuck You."
not
And
Sophie.
it was by fuck. Keep talking, I'll figure it out.
But they don't. They like that era of video. Kind of doesn't exist anymore because I feel like, again, who's gonna make? Going back to Window Liquor, but who's gonna make a video that's literally 12 minutes long? 5 to 8 of those minutes are just like guys screaming, like talking
Yeah.
to like a bunch of girls.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I think that's what truly blew my mind when I saw that was because
Yeah, but it was kind of the peak era of that medium, right? Like
Yeah,
music
yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
Like it's not gonna.
But how, like,
happen again.
but can you even like think of a world where that like exists?
Yeah, the late '90s.
I mean, I know, but I mean, like currently and like in contemporary.
No,
culture,
not at all.
But that was
because-
just like because there was money behind those things
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
right? Like the music videos actually meant something to a
Yeah.
musician because it was like this is going to play on Much Music, and like that was
Right.
it's gonna get airtime and
Yeah.
it's gonna be sick. But now it's no.
But even the idea of like Aphex Twin being on fucking Much Music or MTV is still crazy.
yeah,
when
we
you
don't have
really
anything
think
like
about
that.
it.
Yeah.
Like that's the equivalent of like seeing like Faceless on like even seeing that on late night Much Music would still feel like a crazy thing, but it just doesn't exist anymore because
Yeah.
there's no programming.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you don't look at that stuff anymore. Like you just look at whatever people post on social media. So it's different way of digesting.
I would love for
things.
for there to be money behind music videos again.
Yeah,
That'd be really
we'll
sick.
see.
Yeah.
That'd be
I mean,
tight.
there's grants. You can find
There's
those,
grants,
but they're few and far between.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Is there
so
anything
so
else?
another
Is there anything else?
Well, we were going to talk about Crystal Castles a little bit.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Um,
this is actually huge. I really wanted to talk about this. I don't know if that's.
So I was saying to Austin, like, he used to be the drummer in Crystal Castles.
Yeah, before Kontravoid.
Yeah. Which was like how I don't think I knew you back then, but we weren't friends back then.
Yeah.
But like we had mutuals. Like I knew Sean, and you probably knew Sean back then. And
Yeah.
then, like, Rich
yeah.
and,
Me and Sean
yeah.
knew each other from high school, but
So that was like an interesting thing. But I was gonna say that you're still friends with Alice. After,
yeah, we're still friends and we talk pretty regularly.
Yeah.
Sick.
And that's good because like I feel like it's one of those unfortunate things where just like the legacy is kind of like been died.
But
It's
like,
been
dude,
killed.
Crystal Castles was such a big thing for me. Like in high school, it was one of my favorite bands,
Yeah.
and it led me into so many places,
Yeah.
and like it was such a pivotal experience for me as like just like someone who came from a small town and like heard that. It was just like it fully like changed my. It like led me into complete new directions in the music that I listened to. So it was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Alice Glass was my favorite part, I think. I went to a Crystal Castle show, like 2016 probably. So it would have been post Alice Glass, and I didn't know that Alice Glass wasn't in it. Like I had missed the controversy,
Yeah.
Right.
and I didn't know, and I was stoked to go see Alice Glass, and then found out that it wasn't her when I got there, and I was like, "What the fuck?
Like, what am I watching?
What am
Who's
I
this
here
person?
for?" Like it was,
Which is also
but it was
weird.
still like really good.
Yeah.
But like to like I don't know. That was kind of a weird.
I mean, that band in my, like, from my perspective of like playing with them and just seeing them like that. I mean, she was the band really.
100%.
Yeah,
Like,
it felt
No
like
one.
it.
No one.
I mean, you know, it was a duo, obviously,
Yeah.
always, but yeah, that was like her project.
Yeah.
Like, you know, nobody could really replace her. And I remember like the I mean, for me, like being able to like drum in that band, because I was a fan of the project too.
Yeah.
When they started out in Toronto, and then like being friends with her, and then she asked me to play in the band too.
Right.
So that's how like I started drumming for them, and then touring for the first record. The first record cycle I toured with them.
Yeah.
And we played some insane shows.
Yeah,
Like they were just like it was.
Well,
it was
that band
crazy.
blew up in a way that like
It was
doesn't really exist anymore.
not really like they blew up like so quickly. It was
Like it was. Did you play festivals?
yeah, like from. Here's how the trajectory went. We like played the Beaver, so
Really?
another Toronto bar.
We talk
gone
about the
Have
Beaver
we
on
talked
the
about
pod.
it?
Oh yeah.
The first show I played with Crystal Castles was at the Beaver in end of 2006, probably December 2006.
Were you still in high school?
I was out of high school. I had done 1 year of university in Montreal. I studied electroacoustics, and I dropped out after a year. I moved back to Toronto, and then Alice asked me to play drums for Crystal Castles.
Yeah.
We did the first show at the Beaver in December 2006, and then a couple weeks later, she's just like, "Well, we're getting asked to do all these shows in Europe and the UK, and do you want to come on tour with us?" And that's kind of how it went.
Yeah.
So it's from like February 2007 until about end of 2008, I toured with them, and that was like.
So what was the biggest show versus like the Beaver being
the
the
biggest show?
smallest?
The biggest show is Glastonbury Festival.
Great. From the Beaver to Glastonbury.
Yeah. So that's where I was going with this. Was like the Beaver December 2006 to Glastonbury 2008 August or whatever. Like
like big headlining stage.
Yeah, it was huge. It was like I don't know how many like thousands of people. Like it was big. It was big.
That's funny because we've never really talked about this,
Yeah.
but like that's insane. Like how that just like happened. Because no, like we can't forget that like that was such an important and like you know what, I'll say it, like, you know, Alice was truly the reason to even go see that. Like
Yeah,
she,
100%.
Yeah.
that was it. Like
Yeah.
it was like you had this front woman who had such a mysterious air to her and just such a presence, and was just like,
I feel like it's important to say every alt girl
Yeah.
is inspired by Alice Glass.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, she-
there is no greater inspiration for like even Grimes, like all of these people. Like,
Yeah.
they are all descendants of Alice Glass.
yeah, she did it first.
100%,
She did it first, and
100%.
like, and I'm happy to hear that her, because like we were talking about this last 2 nights
Yeah,
ago,
I mean,
3 nights ago.
honestly, her new stuff.
Her
is
new
just
record's
fucking
it's
killer.
really
Great.
fucking good.
Absolutely.
really
And like
good,
I
yeah.
would, not to be like I wasn't like, or not to say that I wasn't going to listen to it because I didn't want to. I was just like, you know, was just like not some, like I've been into like indie rock these days, and I was like just like new electronic music.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason, I was like, I'm gonna like listen to this album. And I did, and I was like blown away. I was like, this is actually like really fucking sick.
So sick.
Like it's
yeah.
like I'm really happy that like she's made such a like a real comeback, and
Yeah.
like that's like if she comes to Toronto, like I want to go see her live.
Yeah,
100%.
Because like that
I-
would just be amazing.
I don't know if she'll come here. Honestly, I think it's.
I mean, that
kind of
makes
a bit
sense.
of a,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Thing.
yeah. I mean that makes sense.
But I
Um,
mean, the new record she did is awesome, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I think honestly, we talk about talking with her recently. It just seems like she's kind of in a very good creative space right now with her new,
That's
like
sick.
solo project. So
Mhm.
I think that could go just, you know, that she should keep that going. Honestly.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
I think she will. I think that now, and to put out an album, because like, you know, you can put out singles and stuff and like do your thing, but to kind of make a bit of a statement record with this album, I think is actually like a really sick move. And I think it's just gonna do, and I've just been reading about it too. It's like everybody loves it. It's like it's critically acclaimed.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like,
the record's sick, and the visual and all the videos are fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
And the
Like,
cover's
it's
amazing.
just good. It's just a
It's just
good
great.
record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just good. No matter like what the backstory is, it stands alone. It's just like a good fucking
yeah,
record.
for sure. And I think that's
it's
something
like-
that probably needs to be dropped from like
Yeah, 100%.
the story about
Yeah.
her. It's just like the whole Crystal Castles background.
I think
It's just,
I
like,
think it's
you know,
She's a
like-
standalone,
Totally.
great artist.
Yeah.
and that's enough.
and she'll probably always get that, which is which probably sucks a little bit for her. I mean,
Yeah.
I think she probably has accepted it now, but like. It shouldn't be looked at as that. You know,
No.
she was just like, and before Crystal Castles too. When I'll say this as well, we met in high school, and she was playing in punk bands and all
Right.
that shit. Like
Sick.
she was leading punk bands. Like she always was a front person, and then she got picked up. Like not picked up. That's the wrong expression. She
Yeah,
got,
yeah.
like the dude, which I won't mention. Asked her to join the project, and the band never ever really formed until they were both working on
Right,
the
right.
material together.
Yeah.
But she was in bands before and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
she
and that's
already had the fucking
of course.
thing. Like
Yeah.
it was just like
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but there's no
Yeah.
way that Crystal Castles would have been a thing without her.
No,
like
it
if
would've been-
fucking
Yeah.
Redacted was just like doing electronic music on MySpace, like no, that just
Yeah.
would not have happened.
Yeah.
Like I hate to say it, but like
No,
I
but-
don't
but-
hate to say it.
But from what I from knowing her from when we were teenagers, like it was already there. Like it was already like or
It was bound to come no
Yeah.
matter what.
Yeah.
It was just
yeah because it was
Yeah.
just
Well, it's
that's
amazing
what
that
it
you
is.
guys are still friends. I think that's like and she lives in LA too, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys hung out?
We haven't hung out. We talk regularly, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's not.
Yeah,
I don't know. LA social scene is probably it's like,
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, see you around.
Yeah,
sometime,
I'll catch
maybe.
you somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
All right. I think that's good for the
Good
Patreon
bonus
bonus
content.
content.
Yeah.
I think we got it.
Shout out to our Patreon
Yeah,
subscribers.
to the hopefully by the time this comes out, we'll
Yeah.
have
Maybe
couple.
maybe a couple.
Well, a
Maybe
couple.
more than one.
and this is what I'm saying, but this is what you should stick around for as a listener, because
bonus content.
the bonus content's we go in the bonus. That's a
Yeah.
good story.
Yeah,
All right.
that was probably.
It should probably be in the real episode, but we're not going to put it in the real episode. We'll
Well,
save it.
yeah.
get
Well,
more heat.
we'll see what's up. Yeah.
We'll see
Let me know
what's
how it sounds.
Thanks for subscribing.
Cause I